Ben Shapiro, much like other individuals who work in the press, wanted to weigh in on Biden's State of the Union address. It's just that Shapiro took an interesting path. Let's watch.
When you're the president of the United States and you've had the worst 14 months of any president of the United States ever. I mean, Abraham Lincoln had a full-scale insurrection on his hands in the beginning of his administration. That wasn't caused by Abraham Lincoln. Everything bad that has happened over the last 14 months is a completely self-inflicted wound. Joe Biden is the Kurt Cobain of politics. He put a shotgun in the mouth of the American body politic and then pulled the trigger, and the brains are on the wall. Okay, the president of the United States is really, really bad at this. And because he is so bad at this, he has to just lie to you. He has to explain to you, actually, everything is fine. Everything is perfectly good.
The thing that really strikes me, other than the inappropriate imagery of a real person's suicide, is just how hyperbolic that is. It's so hyperbolic. I didn't particularly enjoy the State of the Union address. I didn't. And I can give critique, and we did give critique. I don't know why he had to go in this extreme hyperbolic direction.
He gets bored talking for hours and hours, completely having to avoid all substance whatsoever. I assume he knows that there is nothing he can say, no matter how stupid, no matter how disgusting, that will be a problem for him with his audience. There's a weird system of incentives when you are one of these people on the right, where you can get away with everything. You are encouraged to try to get away with literally everything. Why? It's like I've always said about Charlie Kirk's tweets. Why would he ever think before tweeting when he gets the retweets without it? You will do the least work possible. He's doing it there. And not only in coming up with a purposefully graphic, disgusting, offensive metaphor, but not even committing to it. He said the metaphor is that Joe Biden is Kurt Cobain. Then he said that he puts the rifle or the shotgun in the mouth of the American people. So wait, who in this metaphor? He doesn't even know what he's saying. Something occurred to him. He's not necessarily clever enough in real time to work through his point, or, by the way, to discard it as a metaphor if he doesn't know where it's gonna go. And beyond just the metaphor, Joe Biden has not had a good first 14 months.
Correct.
We can cite many different reasons,
and we did
including
last night.
Exactly. Well, I don't even mean just in the exactly, not just in the State of the Union, but the pandemic response not going so well. But that's something for us to criticize because we want the right to be a part of it. How exactly is Ben Shapiro going to criticize that? He doesn't want people to comply with any of that. Inflation is going up. I defy him to explain exactly why he's blaming Biden. And please, extra credit if you could explain how you would not blame Donald Trump if he were still in office.
Right.
It's just he's supposed to say that things are awful. At least be specific. We hated the 4 years under Trump, not happy these years under Biden, but we don't just say the exact same thing.
I just again, the hyperbole really it really caught me off guard. It really did.
Yeah.
And I get it. He's on the right. He's not gonna like anything that Biden does, no matter what. I get that. But
Biden hasn't really done anything.
That's the thing.
What is your issue?
Biden has been so ineffective. That is the critique. That is literally the only critique. He has been ineffective. Okay, he has failed miserably in accomplishing his own agenda. So there was a tiny sliver of truth in Shapiro's argument, but not in the way that he thinks, right? So he's Biden keeps saying that everything's okay when it's not. I agree with that statement. Everything is not okay. He has failed in passing his agenda. He has, there are certain things that he could have done unilaterally that he's failed to do, right? These are legitimate critiques. You can't be hyperbolic in response to a president who's been a failure in carrying anything out, really. You get what I'm saying? That's the thing that's, and yes, I think the commentary about how offensive it is in using someone's suicide to make this point it's valid. But it's also, again, insanely hyperbolic to use this kind of rhetoric in response to a president who's honestly, falling asleep during international meetings and things like that.
Yeah, he spent the first year of his presidency effectively trying if you assume that he's really trying and failing to pass his agenda. Okay, so Ben didn't like that. Now he's not even trying. So like what can he not do that would finally please you? By the way, I disagree slightly with what you said in that you can't criticize him if he hasn't done anything. The thing is, every progressive can, he can't.
Yeah, that's what
because
I
the thing is, we identify actual problems that preceded Joe Biden and seem set to continue on after his one-term presidency. They need to be fixed, and they're not being fixed. Thus, his inaction is a reason for us to criticize him. Ben Shapiro has to pretend that he's not being paid, set up by millionaires and billionaires specifically to just take up space and time and to get as many young, preferably young conservatives as possible to not demand that anything be done. Ben Shapiro's benefactors have always benefited from the status quo and they want it to continue. Joe Biden is not threatening that status quo. But Ben Shapiro still has to pretend to have an issue with it, even though this is really the best case scenario. Assuming Trump is going to lose, it could not have been better for conservatives than this, but they still have to whine because the show must go on.
Yeah, I'm genuinely curious, like what has Biden done that's so extremely different from Donald Trump that it would upset?
Other than just rhetoric?
Yeah, other than just rhetoric. I mean, his immigration policy hasn't been different from Donald Trump's.
They'll never admit that.
He'll never admit that, but he extended Donald Trump's policy of preventing asylum seekers from entering the country because of COVID. That was something Trump implemented, Biden continued it. It's continuing it till this day.
The choice for SCOTUS is different, I suppose.
But even
they did also desexify the M&M under Biden's watch. We have to put some of the blame of that on him.
Guess.
No, I don't know. Trump might have vetoed the hate crimes legislation.
No increase, no increase in corporate taxes, no wealth tax. All of the things that Ben Shapiro's benefactors would be concerned about are nowhere near passing, dead on arrival, just completely destroyed and blocked in the Senate. So,
if Trump
what warrants that hyperbolic rhetoric? What warrants it? I want to know.
Desire for ongoing paychecks. Yeah, if Trump had gotten around to actually ever having infrastructure week, he probably would have passed something like the bipartisan infrastructure bill. It probably would have been smaller. Some of the priorities would have been different, but it would not be wholly different.
I mean,
this is a game. This is a game for them. It is serious on our side. It's a game for them. Unfortunately, they've already won. It's asymmetric warfare and it sucks every single day.
We've got two pro-corporate parties. And so, yeah, I guess you're right. I mean, when you have Democrats in charge who effectively on substantive issues are very similar to the Republican Party, what are you gonna do if you're a right-wing member of the media? What are you gonna criticize? I guess you just have no choice but to resort to hyperbolic rhetoric on stuff that hasn't at all fundamentally changed.
Yeah, well, and as a final demonstration of, I think it shows that they know that they need to do this, but obviously it is difficult to do. Look at the pains they take to pretend that Hillary's in the news again. Oh, every 2 weeks she might run for president, and they freak out about it because it's much more exciting than talking about Sleepy Joe. That's really what it's about.
To be fair, there have been a lot of op-eds like trying to urge her to run again. So like,
yeah, no, I get that.
Yeah.
I would say that is not necessarily cause enough.
Yeah.
She is not touring Iowa or whatever,
Yeah.
I'm not worried about it.
No, I'm not worried about it either, but yeah.
We'll do it either way. Trump's gonna be president in a few years, but I'm not worried about that specifically.
Things are just going great. They really are.